Hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, January 15th, 2024. Yes, I'm here. I'm not doing much, but I am here. So I know that I've been trying to update everybody, at least on Facebook and different places, and you probably saw the last video that I posted and referring to the surgery that I had. And it apparently went well. I did not know what to expect from the surgery overall. I mean, I knew there would be some pain and discomfort, but let me tell you, right after, it was pretty rough. You know, whenever you go under anesthesia, and of course they bring you out of it, it can be pretty uncomfortable because the medicines or whatever they give you do certain things, and obviously waking up and trying to understand and get your head back straight, all that sort of thing can be difficult. But I'm back and I'm home. Let's put it that way. I'm back home. And now the prognosis, I assume, is good. I don't see any complications from the surgery, and I hope that the healing continues and I'm able to get back to doing the things that I need to be doing. So thank you all for the support and all the comments on Facebook and everywhere on YouTube and all that. I do appreciate it. And as you can see, I'm kind of wearing some comfortable clothes right now. You know, and I also they give you this this girdle thing you got to wear to help keep your skin, muscles tight. You know, however you want to put it. The other awkward thing, other than having that done, is apparently whenever they do this, they put some sort of a breathing tube or something in your mouth or in your throat, and unfortunately it's not meant to take over the breathing for you. You still breathe, it just forces the air passage open, I guess. But complications from that or difficulties with that is whenever that tube is in the back of your throat, it can cause irritation to the, what was it, uvula, is that how you say it, and that piece of skin or flesh that hangs down in the back of your throat, and it becomes enlarged and can be difficult. And that's something I'm dealing with right now. I'm able to swallow and eat and drink and all that sort of thing, and it may take a week or two for that to, I guess in my mind, kind of reattach. It's almost like it's this fleshy part has come loose from the upper section or whatever, and it's kind of hanging down in the back of my throat. It makes it a little difficult. So at times I feel like I have something in my throat when it's actually part of my throat, so it makes it a little difficult to talk a little bit. So anyway, I'm glad everybody is here. I see we already have like 49 people showing up. So let me give a bell to all of you for just being here and taking part in this. I don't know how long I'll be able to go tonight, and I'm not even sure what I plan to talk about, but I know this has become a pretty good event we do on Monday nights. And, you know, people get used to doing that, and I want to continue doing this as much as I can. So let's see who's here tonight and go from there. First in, Rick Stevenson. Glad you're here, Rick. Hope all is well with you. And whenever I see Rick, that's my sign. That's when I take my first drink of coffee for the evening. Good stuff. Let's see, Rick Gain. So it's 2 Ricks in a row right there. Hello, all, Barry. I hope your recovery is going well. I have my kidney surgery on Friday and not looking forward to that. Hoping to enjoy a couple hours of good conversation tonight. I'll give you what I can. I can't say it'll be a couple hours, but we'll see how far we can go with it. I'm glad you're here, Rick. And good luck with the kidney surgery. I'm sure that won't be fun either. Terry Keithley, evening everyone. Burr, not Barry. Please hit the thumbs up and like button. Hope you're feeling better, Barry. Thank you, Terry. I am getting there. I'm much better than I was on Friday evening and Saturday. And yesterday was okay. Today I'm getting better. I'm able to. They tell you to move around. They give you this little thing. I think it's called a spirometer. I think is the name of it. It's a breathing tube thing, and you're supposed to inhale as deeply as you can, so that your lungs expand and you don't end up with pneumonia. So I've been doing that regularly. I've been taking the pain pills and the muscle relaxers. I haven't taken any of the opioid products. I'm not going to do that unless I really have to, and I don't think I will. And also I've been going for walks. So I've been bored. Let me tell you, I've been really bored, and it's rough. So I've been walking up and down my street. I've done that a couple times today. I've come out to the garage and tried to do a couple little things, nothing major. So yeah, it's quite the transition from being pretty active to sitting around watching TV. Dave Tyson, good evening from cold -10 Minnesota. Yeah, you can have that. We're going to have some cool temperatures here. I know that the temperatures have been getting lower, and as it works its way across the states, we will be experiencing some cooler temperatures. Like today, there was a high of 60, low of 39, and currently it's 51 degrees. It's really nice out. Tomorrow it's going to be a low of 19, Wednesday a low of 15, Thursday and Friday low of 23 and 24. So we're going to have some cold days. Saturday will probably be the worst because it'll be a low of 18 and a high of 30. So that's like a hard freeze for us. And then hopefully it just rebounds from there and we go straight to summer. Straight to spring, let's say, not summer. But glad you're here, Dave. Man, the thing is so weird back there. Steve Reed. Hello, everyone. Hope your trip went well. It's been snowing here in Paducah, Kentucky. Yeah, it was snowing in Texas. Robert updated me with pictures from snow in Texas. So, yeah. Troy Justit, good evening from coastal Georgia. I got the right frame rail tip replaced with help from your light blue Mustang video. Now for left side. Thank you, Barry. You're welcome, Troy. Glad you're here as well. Orange Crate. Howdy all from Houston. I don't have heat in my garage, or Jeep Wrangler for that matter. So no work on the project staying this week. Heal up quick, Barry. Thank you, Orange Crate. Appreciate that. That's another thing. I was, my oldest son wanted to change the spark plugs in his Honda Pilot. And he'd asked me, if I could help him with that. And I said, I can, but this week all I can do is supervise. So I did. I supervised him pulling out the spark plugs, and he did get it done. So it worked out very well. I'm proud of him for getting that finished. It's not normally his thing to do mechanical stuff, but he is, he's a mechanical engineer, which mechanical engineer doesn't mean you do mechanical things. Mechanical relates to functions of a building like air conditioning and heat and that sort of stuff. But anyway, he was able to change out those spark plugs. And while we were doing that, I had to sneeze. Oh my gosh. They tell you to put pressure on your belly and, have a pillow handy. Yeah. So I'm standing out there, and all of a sudden a sneeze hit me, and I had to go sit down. This was not going well, having a big sneeze. So, yeah. Robert, the Infernal Craftsman, evening all was down to 10 most of the night last night. Mini Split is doing surprisingly well in the shop. That's awesome. And he'd sent me some pictures of his the differential that he's working on. And he got the housing all cleaned up and painted and looking pretty sharp. So we might have him on a little bit. Because I don't know how much I can go with all this, but we'll see. Glad you're here, Robert. Steve Reed, tempo's down to 0 here in Paducah. Yeah, you can have that. Dave Conville, good evening. I hope you're recovering well. Thank you, Dave. Glad you're here. Rick Stevenson, it was 72 when we landed in Jacksonville this afternoon. It's supposed to be about 60 in the morning. And that sounds very appealing. I would take that any day. Just a heads up. I mentioned in the last video that I was going to try to edit some of my older videos, possibly. Today I did edit a video. It's a new video, and it's from the autocross event that I did back in September. So I had footage from that on my GoPro. I had it saved, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make it happen. So I made a video. It's probably going to be it's about 11 minutes long. It's from the autocross event in Gadsden, Alabama. I posted some links in that video as well. That video will come out later this week, but it gives y'all something to see, and you might find some entertainment value in that video. So check it out when it comes out. I'm not going to try to put one out every day. And there may be some other videos that I have posted elsewhere that I may also re-edit and put onto the channel as well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's really hard to do just about anything right now. Ray Buckman, good evening, Barry, and all else. Hoping everyone is staying warm. Colorado got up to 2 degrees. Glad to hear, Ray. Dwight Douglas, hey all from Central Indiana. Glad to hear, Dwight. I'm sure it's cold there. Roger checking in from next door. Greetings. I'm back after the Chili Bowl. Hope you had a good time, Raj. I know you enjoy that event. Jack W. says, hi, Barry. Hi, Jack. Glad you're here. Rusty's Restoration. Hello, Barry, and all. Prayers for quick recovery. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Man, it's just that little thing in the throat. Man. Harvey checking in. Raleigh Cat Garage. Glad to see you tonight. Praying you have a speedy recovery. Thank you, Harvey. Appreciate that. J.K. Pendola. Glad the surgery went well. Thank you, sir. Sebastian De Silva. Good evening. Well, good evening to you, Sebastian. Glad you're here. Oh, you know what? Here, let me tell you about something else. I'm going to interrupt just for a minute here. You know, I did that video and I talked about picking up that truck, and that was good timing. That was really good timing on my part, picking up that truck and knowing that Suburban has given me a lot of problems. There was so much going on the week before or last week prior to that surgery, which was on Friday. And I was trying to get things addressed. I wanted to go, I drove down to Florida, picked up the rotisserie, which is sitting here, got some parts for the car, came back. I was trying to take care of things on Thursday, and Thursday evening, my daughter calls. And she said, Dad, I think my car's on fire. Well, if you've seen my videos, you know that she has a 2007 Kia Sportage. And I've done 2 or 3, maybe 4 videos on that vehicle. For the most part, no real complaints. It's been a decent vehicle. I did have an oil leak on it that it took 2 videos and 2 days to fix that leak, but it's not leaked since. And that was several years back. I did do I think I put a wheel bearing on it twice, and I've kept up with it, putting new tires on it, stuff like that. So the vehicle has 238,000 miles on it, which is probably pretty high for a Kia, to be honest. And she was up in North Atlanta driving this thing, and she calls me in a panic because she thinks it's on fire. So I have her FaceTime me, and I'm looking at it, and I see steam rolling out from under the hood. And I'm like, oh, please be like a water hose or something, Well, she ended up pulling it off into close to a parking garage, and now I'm in dad mode, right? Because my daughter is a teacher. This is her only vehicle. She has no alternatives. So what do? Well, I have the tow dolly and I have my Honda Fit. So I hooked up the tow dolly to the truck that I just got, thankfully. Hooked up the tow dolly, which I also had just put good new tires on a few weeks back, or a month or so ago. And I just got tow straps for it because I didn't have those. Loaded up my Honda Fit, drove it up into Atlanta, gave her my car. Her car had cooled off enough at that point that I could actually fire it up, and drove it onto the tow dolly and dragged it back home. This is all late Thursday. By 9 o'clock, I was back home and I had taken the car off. I haven't had time to really diagnose it, but I'm feeling like it blew the head gasket. The oil is all over the place under the hood. There's antifreeze all over the place, or there was. I put some antifreeze in it just to see, and it's dripping out of it. So that car's dead in the water. I don't know if it's worth it to try to fix the head gasket on this thing. When she called me, it was rattling. There was a lot of noise going on. But when I fired it up, after it had cooled off, it sounded nice and smooth. So I'm between a rock and a hard place. Do I throw money into that thing and try to keep it running? Or do I go help her buy another vehicle so she has a car and I can get my Honda back? Because that's my go-to car right now, is my little Honda. So anyway, just some more of the complications of the last week. You can never have everything go your way, but it is what it is. Let's see, Troy. I didn't get any fancy girdle when I got my operation, but it was hard to move around. Every movement involves your abdomen. Best of luck and quick recovery. Yeah, they gave me some sort of stretchy thing, and it's helping. And basically the operation is they put 3 incisions in my case in my left side, and then apparently they take this piece of mesh. It's like 6 inches square, push it in there somehow, and then staple it stitch it to the abdominal wall, and then close you back up, and then that mesh has to bond or grow into your muscle, let's say. So you have to be careful with that because you don't want to tear it loose by doing something they tell you not to. So hopefully everything fuses together, right, and does what it's supposed to do. But yeah, it's you never realize. It's like your back. You don't realize how much you use your back or different parts of your body, and then something gets injured, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't realize blah blah blah. So you know what I'm talking about. But I have some recovery to do. Lost 2, glad to see you up and about. Thank you, Lost. Glad you're here. It says Lost 2-1, so Lost 2. SC Solar, I guess. C Solar, something like that. Evening all from Central North Carolina. Glad you're here. Terry Keith LeBetta said she hopes you're feeling better. You need a couple of cats to comfort you. Yeah, that's the last thing I need. Last thing I need, Terry. But thank you to Betty as well. Give Betty a bell. You can share that with her. Her Scrambler, get well soon, Barry. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Oh, Solar meant to say Bob here, holding a live stream soon after your surgery. Says a lot. Godspeed. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's as long as I'm not having to really do anything other than sit here, I'm okay. But thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Gene, hey everyone. Hope you are making progress, Barry. Thank you, Gene. And Gene, I did send you. I thought I had sent you a link to the Dropbox. Let me know if you get that. I tried to send it. If it didn't come through, we'll try it again. I haven't used Dropbox in quite some time, so I'm gonna have to, figure that out. But glad you're here, Gene. If I didn't give you a bell, there's another one. Nick Moss says hello. Hello, Nick. Glad you're here. Sebastian. Well, I'm a mechanical engineer also, but I really like to get my hands on cars. Say hi to my colleague. I appreciate that. I know that both of my sons they're not in my footsteps. They don't follow my footsteps. They can do things, but they are not in my path. And I'm okay with that. My one son is a mechanical engineer. He's actually working for Delta Airlines right now, and I'm very proud of him for that. And my other son is a full-time firefighter. So really, proud of both of them. And of course, my daughter is a early education teacher. So proud of all three. Let me give them bells. There's some bells for my kids. Rick, any updates from the owner of the gasser project you worked on several months ago? No updates as of late. I have not heard anything from him. I don't know what the status is other than he has it back. I know that I'm still concerned with how that overall turned out. I'm still not happy with the way the steering ended up on it. And I know I was doing what he wanted me to do with it, and I wish we would have went a different way. Hopefully that doesn't cause problems for him. If it does, I may end up coming back here and getting some upgrades. Dave Tyson been watching your old videos. Awesome. Yeah, keep at it. Keep at it. I appreciate it. KRD, Klein Race Car Design. Hello all. Hello KRD. Glad you're here. Rick Stevenson, perhaps you can film some more snert videos while you're down. Okay, I'm not going to laugh, Steve. I'm not going to laugh, Rick. But yeah, I could do some snert videos. Ray Buckman, actually surprised you were here tonight. How long are you down for? Get well soon. That's a good question. They tell me at the most 6 weeks. I know me, and I have a hard time thinking 6 weeks will be acceptable. I also know I have to be careful with what I'm doing. So I would just have to be cautious. Hopefully I can do some things within the next week or so. We'll see how this, I'm going to let this week go. I'm not going to try to do anything. And then we'll see how next week starts to roll. But I have to be responsible and take care of myself. But they say 6 weeks, but we'll see. Sebastian, hope you have a good and quick recovery. Thank you, sir. Andy Spivey, hey Barry, how are you, sir? Well, I'm here. Taking it easy, which is difficult. Brady Hermanson, good evening, Barry. Finishing up my neighbor's 66 Galaxy seats so I can get back on the 68 California Special. That's awesome. Dawn checking in. Hello all. Hello from 20 degrees PDX. Decided it was time to service the generator, camp stove, and lantern. Yeah. And he says, freezing rain is coming. Well, glad you're here, Dawn. Rick says, do a video where you LS swap a Kia. You'll get views, and then you can use your spare engine. Yeah, I could. I could actually use a spare engine. That's, I don't think I want to do that, though. Don't think so. SC Solar, don't waste a dime on a Kia. Check for recalls since their motors have a history of catastrophic failure. Well, this is a 2007, so it's well out of the range of a recall. And that recall generation was actually probably within the last 5 years, I think. So it's well out of warranty or recall notifications. 238,000 miles on it, being an 07. The thing is, what's really disappointing is this car is clean, straight. There's not a rip in the seat. There's no rust anywhere on this thing. Really sad that it ended up that this thing failed. So gonna have to find her something. Keep her on the road. Gene, no link yet. I know even less about it than you. Yeah, well, may have gone to your junk list, Gene. So you might want to check that just to see. Terry Keithley, some shoe fly pie with that coffee will help. You know what? If I could talk my wife into making that, I would definitely be eating that. Yes, that is a good. But I don't see it happening. But I would. Al Buckle, it's hard to keep a good man down. Glad to see you're up and about already. Thank you, Al. Appreciate it. Delmarine, hope you heal up quick and don't have to do any snow shoveling. Yeah, there won't be any shoveling done here. That's for sure. Glad you're here. Nick, what is shoe fly pie? Shoe fly pie is a traditional, maybe Pennsylvania Dutch, as far as I know, Pennsylvania Dutch food. That is it's a pie made with like molasses. It's very thick, has a unique flavor to it, and it's kind of like, it may be like a consistency of kind of like a pumpkin pie in some sense. But yeah, you have to look it up. Try it sometime. Blue Healer. Hi, Barry. Best wishes for a speedy recovery from South Central Texas. Glad you're here, Blue. Nick, when I was a kid, I had a surgery that had a huge incision on my stomach, and the surgery required stitching a hole back up in my diaphragm, so laughing was incredibly painful. The hospital brought a clown to my room. Here you go. Let's see. I'm sorry, Nick. I don't want to laugh. I'm not going to laugh. Numa Newbern. Beautiful day here in sunny North Central Florida. Awesome. Glad you're here, Numa. Ray Buckman at 230,000. She's gotten great use out of the car. Maybe time for another. Yeah, it may have to be because I don't know if the scary part is if I do a head gasket, which I'm not afraid to do a head gasket, but if it got some damage to anything, then it's futile. And there's no real way to know if it's had damage unless you like pull everything apart, and I don't want to do that. So I may have to see where I end up. But yeah, that thing, it's been a good little vehicle. Everything works on it. But I got the plastic cover off today. Just got it up and looked, and there's like oil all over the place. So that gasket, I'm sure the head gasket blew. Troy, don't push it too fast. I did paid for it. Give it time to heal, or you'll be down for longer. Yeah, I understand. Dave, see where antifreeze is coming from first. Yeah, I did put some in it, and I know that it wasn't. Well, I won't be able to see it. There's no way I can crawl around and look, but I did see it like leaking out of the center of the vehicle, out of the little splash pan underneath. So it was leaking out of that, and that's about all I know. But otherwise, probably can't get really much of anything out of it. I may look at trying to find like a Toyota RAV4 or something like that. I know the Kias have a up and down rating. Some are great, and some aren't. It's hard to go wrong with a Toyota, honestly. Rick, since you know the vehicle, may be worth putting in a rebuilt engine. This way, you know the vehicle, unlike what you would end up with a used car. That is a valid response. I don't know what the availability of those engines, and the trade-off is, what's going to fail next? Like, if the engine failed at 240 or whatever, is the transmission going to last much longer? How do I justify one over the other? I have been looking on like Marketplace. If I could find one that was like hit in the back and totaled, had 100,000 miles on it, I might consider buying it and just swap the cradle out and be done with it. But yeah, the choices are pretty limited, I think, at this point. Dawn, I always consider the user service life at 230,000 miles. How many miles would that major repair get you? That's where I'm at too, because I know that the other thing I had to do to it, I know I did the wheel bearings, or one wheel bearing hub in the back, and I did replace a radiator in it. That was last year or so. I don't remember now. But you're right. Where do you draw the line as to return on investment, right? ROI. That's a tough decision. Right now, she can drive my little Honda. That's fine. That'll get her where she needs to go. But it's not the ideal car for her, and I'd rather have her in something at least a little bit bigger and I would say safer as well. But we're gonna have Robert join us. He's in his shop, so he's gonna participate with us tonight. So let's get Robert in here and see what's going on with him.
How's everybody doing?
I'm doing. That's about all I can say.
Well, it's like I told you my story about my appendix.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had to cut something like that. It was like 6-7 inches and ruptured during surgery, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I spent the week of 4th of July in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely. I mean, I'm much better than I was Friday or Saturday and yesterday. So, and I'm just going to keep on going for walks and try not to lose my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how's the rear end coming, the differential?
It's actually under the back of the car right now.
Oh, really?
It's not attached to it. It's just underneath it.
Okay.
Because I don't have anywhere to put it at this point, but I narrowed it. It's done. The only thing I don't have a second short axle because this whole axle was bought just basically to get the short axle. So I still got to get another rear end. I'm going to shorten that one, do the whole process all over again. So
Okay.
you know how that goes. But the only thing that's not on this one is the leaf spring purchase because the place I ordered from, they canceled my order, and it seems one of those things. It seems to be an issue getting those right now. You know, unless you want to spend, you know, like $80 a pair for them or some, you know, ridiculous amount.
Oh, okay. So, okay, I know you plan to buy, or you bought one complete differential, right?
Yeah.
And you plan to buy a second one.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because
this one was your like experimental one.
basically, and because when you narrow the one side, you end up using two short axles.
Right.
So you know, so the long axle is not, you don't need it. So I got the entire rear end for basically the same price of buying just the axle.
Okay.
So why not buy the whole thing? And it's got the 342 gears, and it's not it's an open rear end. It's not a posi. So what I'll do is at the junkyard, 373 Explorer rear ends, dime a dozen, easy to get. I mean, I can go to the junkyard and there's a ton of them in there. So
Okay.
I'll get one of those, narrow that one. And then I may start with the 373 in the car. If I don't like it, then I'll take the gears from this and put, you know, change gears and carrier and, you know, mishmash it all together to get what I want, which means I'll probably end up using the rear end I just narrowed
Okay.
because the pinion gear is set up for that housing.
Yeah.
So I'll probably end up putting the 370, the carrier, the posi carrier into this rear end to make that swap work, unless I were just to come across another carrier. Because
Okay.
when I've done it on GM rear ends, and I'm assuming if it works as well at Fords, I don't know. But if I do it on GM rear end, say I just you get a posi, you know, posi rear end and a non-posi, I can take the carrier out of this one, put it in that one, leave, as long as the gears stay with the housing that they came out of. Everything else just works.
Right.
The tolerances were you know, tight enough during machining that you just swap it out, you put it in, and it's good to go. You don't have to readjust anything. I'm hoping it works out.
Well,
because I hate setting up rear ends, I really do.
So either way, you plan to use this housing.
Probably,
Okay. So at least the housing you'll use.
yeah, the housing and the short axle, but then it depends on what, you know, what gear ratio I end up actually going with. I may start off with the other housing
Yeah.
and then switch to this one at some point if I don't like the 373s.
Well, I know it looks good all painted up. You know, I got a picture up there.
Yeah.
And so you're waiting on the purchase, what you were saying.
Yeah, and like I said, I got to find somebody else to order them from.
Well, who have you tried to order?
It was at one an off-road place, you know, a four-wheel drive place.
Okay. Did you
And
try
they
like
came-
Speedway or Jags or Summit?
It was one of the, when it wasn't one of those. It was like an off-road, like
Okay.
like a four-wheel parts kind of thing.
Yeah, go to Speedway or Jags.
Yeah, I'll probably look at Speedway because they don't really have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or if they don't, Jags will, or Summit.
Yeah, well, Summit was out.
Oh, okay.
Summit was out, and a couple of the other ones looked at. They were just out. They were just like, we don't know when we're going to get them. Now I could get, you know, I don't need a big one that's 6-8 inches long for an off-roader. I don't need that monster thing. You know, I just need a standard one. So that was part of the issue because the big ones I can get. I
Okay.
don't need one for an off-roader.
Well, can you cut it down though?
Hey, you could.
I mean, you don't want to, obviously, but
Yeah, if you're doing it, yeah. But it's just kind of like it's kind of overkill, and it's a little higher, you know, which introduces more issues as well.
Nick says check quick performance.
Okay, we'll do.
They might have it, but back to just a quick cover on the Kia. Steve Reed says the head may be warped or cracked, and that is very possible as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I don't know on that one, but I know the recent ones that the 4 cylinders they had the issue with. Don't blame Kia for it. They blame Chrysler.
oh really?
They bought the engine design from Chrysler.
Oh
It was one of those they just needed a 4-cylinder engine and they weren't quite done with theirs yet. So you know, car companies, they make stuff all the time and sell it to other car companies, and
yeah,
that one didn't go well.
yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, like I said, I'm in a hard place right now because I can't work on it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to work on it, and I don't know that I can get anything out of it. You know,
Yeah, and I'm just not familiar enough with working on those to, I'm not.
well, like I did several years back, I did the head gasket on my son's '03 Camry,
Mm-hmm.
and that was an involved job, and it turned out I got another 100,000 miles out of it, which is great. But I also knew that it was just an antifreeze leak. In this case, there's no oil on the dipstick, and there's no antifreeze in it. So, like you were saying before, this is a pressurized, type of deal. And if it blew that stuff out, I couldn't tell by the little when she called me if it was like bad rattly sounds. I couldn't tell. It was just so loud.
Yeah, because a lot of people forget, we're used to the older engines, but you got to remember these newer ones. There's pressurized oil going up to the top end for the valve train.
Yeah,
It's not just through push rods and stuff. And
yeah.
and then the rattling engines. I'm starting to wonder. It's like, is there a hole in that block somewhere?
That's but when I fired it up to unload it off the dolly, it ran like a clock. It was smooth. I drove it right up the driveway. Didn't make a noise. That's what has me like wondering. So,
Well, I can come up next week and
yeah, I know. No, there won't be anything next week. I can tell you that.
Well, you can supervise and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Not that I really want to do it.
What's that?
Not that I really want to work.
No, it's not going to happen. Ray Buckman says something I don't know. When you cut the housing and cut it, what happens with the axles? Are they all then also cut and new grooves cut?
No, that's the nice thing about the Explorer is it has say that long on one side and that long on the other.
So basically, what happens is they have the center chunk offset in the housing. So you have one axle that is let's say 30 inches, just to throw a number.
Yeah.
One is 30 inches and the other one is 24.
It's
whatever.
about 3 inches different. Yeah.
No, 27. And so when you cut that, you buy another axle from another housing, you shorten that long length 3 inches, and then you take the short axle and put it on the other side.
Yep.
So you end up with two short axles, and this chunk ends up in the center.
Yep. Let me see if I can point this over here. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's too far. Actually, let me remove that ladder real quick.
So again, if you look at the housing right now, the center chunk is dead center from side to side. So I think the output, or let's say the input shaft, though, may not be centered on the chunk. I'd have to remember. Robert will have to fill us in on that. So is the input centered now, or is it offset slightly?
It's close to being centered.
Okay.
Because in the Explorer, it's really far off. So you're actually bringing it closer to center.
Okay.
I know it's way over there. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but the one in white is the long one, and there's a shorter one standing.
Oh, the axles.
Yeah, the axles.
Okay, I see it now.
And it's about 3 inches.
Okay.
It's like 2 7/8, I believe. That's why I write things down, because I can't remember a lot of things anymore. So
Troy says that turned out nice, Robert. I'm following your build because I want to do the same thing.
it's not hard.
Yeah.
It's really, and if you're worried about what you're cutting it with, cut it a little short, and then just grind all the way back up to it, center it up. And I was really surprised how easy it was to get it nice and straight back again. And I just did the angle iron, clamshell around it.
Yeah.
And I spent a bunch of time, straight edges going around. And that said, the pipe is not round. It's because it's pipes are sheet metal that are rolled around and then welded back together. I actually took my caliper and I would measure down the line, and when this plane and a couple different planes, it's not even consistently out of round. It's just kind of one of those kind of things. And,
Right.
So when you cut it and you put it all together and you got it all lined up, you're thinking, oh, this doesn't look right because it's not perfectly flush on the outside. Kind of ignore that, because what's important is
center line.
the alignment. Yeah.
The center line. So, not having done that myself, did you have the axle in when you welded the housing together, or did you just count on the housing being square?
Well, when I clamped it together, that just basically held the pipes together.
Okay.
You just take two pieces of angle iron and, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
clamp them here, clamp them there, a bunch of clamps.
Because
And,
I
you
guess
know,
I overkill things a lot. Because I would have, in my mind, as I process this real quickly, I may have considered having it on the table,
hmm
do a drop from the end to the center of each axle, so I knew where the drop was,
yep.
and then when you put the housing back together, to put the axle in, so that it's tight and get that drop the same while you still have the angle on it. Just as I'm thinking
Yeah,
through this.
and I do, and I'll measure different way, because there's tons of different things you can measure and reference off
Oh,
of.
sure.
I don't know how you set it up, but there is a jig you can buy that's basically just a solid rod, longer than the rear end, and you've got a puck that you take the center section out. You've got a puck where the bearings are in the center, and two pucks out here.
Okay.
It's not a complicated jig. I think it sells for about $400 or $500.
Oh, that's good if you're going to do 20 or 30 of them.
Yeah, if I was doing it to sell, I would.
Yeah.
I would not do it the way I did it to sell to somebody.
Right.
There's
Sure.
no way. I would buy the kit and do it, or if I had a big enough lathe, I could just machine the pucks and buy a ground rod, and not that big a deal to do actually, if you've got a big enough lathe.
Okay. Steve's talking about, I guess, the head on the Kia. I've done a few of them, and the head had problems, and it will mah.
Yeah, generally my thing with head gaskets is if the head gasket went, the head needs to be milled.
Yeah, and that's when I did my son's car. I had the head reworked completely, rebuilt, everything checked out. And I get it. It lasted for another 100,000 miles. But
At least you got more miles out of that than my parents got out of their Toyota.
oh, really?
Yeah, they got 140 out of theirs, and it lost it threw a rod going down the freeway.
Wow. Okay.
And the Toyota, they drove it in the Toyota dealer, and the guy said, "Do you buy it new?" I said, "No, I bought it used." I said, "Well, if you had bought it used from us, we would have just put a new engine in it
Yeah.
because they have this lifetime warranty thing on those on the drivetrain." So my parents, they had another Camry there, so they bought a Camry and drove it home, and
Yep.
yeah, what else are you gonna do?
Gene, when I did my 8.8 for my 66, I had to buy the beefy anti-wind-up perches and shorten them. Supply chain issues.
Yeah,
So, Dave Tyson says the offset is for four-wheel drive. The offset of that differential.
yeah.
Steve, I've done a few of them, and the head had problems, and when the motor is hot, it will make noise. Okay. That's probably all I need to hear about the Kia. I mean, I'm really not confident with trying to fix it.
Yeah.
Just which sucks. It has 4 new tires on it. Paint. There's not. I mean, the paint's good.
And a full tank of gas too, right?
I don't know about that. But yeah, it's
That's those earlier ones. They were still working through their teething problems at the time, and
yeah. Well, I mean, it
and-
was. I really can't complain about it.
and it's with theirs is the 6-cylinder was a great engine. Their 6 is great.
Yeah.
Some of the 4s, yeah. It's just when you consider where they came from to where they are today,
Yes.
there is no other car company that has come that far in quality in that short a time.
Oh no, I agree with you 100% because those things, the early ones were just horrible.
Buy one get one free. Remember that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no, it was. There were dealers.
really?
There were dealers here that was the deal. You bought one, you got one free, and that was the selling thing.
Yeah, if you look up the early ones, they were so ugly. Those things are just hideous.
Yeah, sadly, the Yugo was probably better looking.
Probably. Let's see. Michael Pagliarini, hello all, late to the party. Does anyone know what I should be looking for in a C4 tranny? Nope.
No,
I don't know.
I'm not.
I have an FMX though. I'll sell you.
I
don't need it.
Not familiar with those.
Yeah. I don't have a good answer. I think I have one sitting out here though. I think I have an FMX and a C4 just sitting out here that probably not going to ever use.
Well, I know the C4 was the lighter duty one, and the C6 was better.
That's
Other
all I
than
know.
that, I don't know much about them. I've never torn into one. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do transmissions.
And the GM ones, the 350s, the 400s, the 700s, I know
Yeah,
more than I want to know about them. I've rebuilt a few of them here and there.
yeah. I'll end up having.
Chrysler ones were odd because I remember their problems on the early ones was everything spins this way, and then when it shifts gears, everything spins the other way. And that was one of the problems they had was just all that mass stopping and then spinning the other direction
Oh, okay.
was rough on them.
Yeah. Nick says 1970 plus, and 1970 is the best year because it has the strongest input shaft. So there's an answer. There is an answer. But yeah, at this point, let's see. Steve Reed says I had good luck. I had good luck out of C4 trans. Okay.
Good.
I think whenever it comes time, like for the Mach 1, my Mach 1, it'll have an overdrive, something.
That's my plan as well. Yeah.
Because I wouldn't mind having a 5-speed, as Harvey is saying right here, do a T5 conversion. Shifting gears is more fun. It is. And I'm not totally committed to an automatic, but as life goes on, I'm like, you know what? There's some things you just don't have to have.
Well, her PT Cruiser, the airport beater, it's a standard, and when she bought it, she said, well, she bought it new, she wanted another standard, she just wanted to have a standard, and after years of having that thing, she bought it brand new.
Yeah.
And after having years of it, she's like, you know what, I'm done. I don't. She says, I just don't want another standard ever again because it's a nightmare to drive. It really is. In traffic and this.
Yeah, for a daily driver, it's a little more effort for sure. But like for a cruiser, I could see it's cool because you got a stick shift. But
have you seen traffic here?
Well, not there, no. But I know what it's like around here.
Yeah. There's nothing enjoyable about a standard transmission here. There's nothing enjoyable about it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm uncoordinated, so I'm horrible at driving one. So.
Oh, okay. Nick says 70 is getting hard to find. By the way, there's a lot of aftermarket support for all of them, though. Huge horsepower with the lowest budget. 70 is what you want. So there you go.
Okay. I would assume that you can just buy aftermarket hard parts for them, like you do for other transmissions. I would assume. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's hard to cough.
Oh, I've done that before when it's just like, if I sneeze, I'm going to hurt my back.
Yeah.
Or I've already hurt my back. And if I sneeze, it's going to really hurt. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Tyson, C4 was a good trans. Pull pan, check pan for clutch junk. Yep. Good call.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I have this FMX sitting here that I don't plan to use, and I have the at least one C4, if not two C4s sitting out here that just probably not going to go to use.
Well, and I've scrapped a ton of those things over the years.
Yeah.
People just give them to me. I've got this thing. It's like they had no value.
Yeah.
For a long time they had no value. It's like nobody wanted them. And even now it's kind of a tougher thing because it's just like C4 or an overdrive that is got better gearing, better this. It's like unless you want the nostalgia for it, or you just I want a 4-speed. I want the C4 in there because it had a C4.
Right.
I look at it, just go with the newer overdrives. Just pick one. There's a couple different ones. Just pick one and go with it.
Rick says stick shift is good for if you don't want your car stolen because most car thieves don't know how to drive them. That is true.
Yeah.
Now, what you could do, just for fun, is make the shifter look like a stick shift. They used to, what was it? They had low car. I think it was low car. You used to have a stick shift for like old trucks. It was an automatic and had a push button in the center of the shifter that you could put it back and forth. So we could do that. Just make it look like it's a 4-speed. Put a clutch pedal down there just for fun.
Well, and it's like the GM one I like with the 80s, the Hurst Olds, the lightning rods.
Yeah.
You have three levers down there. Most people are like, yeah, I don't know what to do. It's 3 levers. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Nick says I have a 68 C4 sitting around if anybody wants it. St. Louis area, come get it. I just like overdrive too much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, talking about 4-speeds and overdrive and that sort of thing, I mentioned it before. I had rebuilt, this is sort of a junkyard related story. I rebuilt a 83 Dodge Colt.
Mm-hmm.
It was wrecked. And that was a Mitsubishi vehicle, but it was labeled under Dodge. And this thing had a 4-speed, but it also had a high-low range. So it had your regular 4-speed shifter, and then right next to it was a high-low gear setup. So like if you were in hills, you could put it in low. You'd have 4 gears in low. You know, they'll be in a low range, let's say. But what I would mess with people, and I would split shift that thing. So I'd be driving down the road in low 1, low or high 1. I'd shift to low 2, high 2, low 3, high 3. You know, they're like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I got to get all the gears." So I was an 8-speed, and they were like, "What?" You know.
Well, it's too bad it didn't have a 2-speed rear end too. Then you really have fun.
Well, yeah, that would have been quite a different thing. But that was a fun little car. That really was. And you don't see that anymore. You don't see a split shift or a high-low range, like in a Jeep or something, maybe, but not in a car. That was a unique feature.
Not that you could do that with anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Rick Stevenson, my Fiesta has a 5-speed. I don't even think about shifting. I just do it. I sometimes find myself reaching for the clutch, even when I drive an automatic. Yeah. I'm the same way when I'm just driving. I switch between maybe my truck or the Suburban or my wife's van, and I'm like waving my hand around trying to find a shifter. It's like, oh, wait, this one's down here.
I cannot tell you how many times I get into something like, oh, it's not here. It's not here. It's down here. Yeah.
Or you're reaching for the wiper, and it's like, GM. It's on this turn signal shift. You know.
Yeah, and then it's like it's not on that side. It's on this side. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick, original C4 and 289 from Mustang may end up scrapped. They've been in my way too long, and nobody wants them. Who knows? I'm sure somebody wants them. I hope somebody wants them. I hate to see them be scrapped.
Somebody's got to want them. Put it on Vintage Mustang forums or something.
Yeah.
Somebody on there will snap it up.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely post it on the Facebook groups too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, Dave Tyson's the old 3 on the tree. Yeah, that was always fun to drive. Michael, yes, I was told 72 up to 81 are the best. I can't find any C4s within 300 miles of me. On a part find service, did find a C5 at Connecticut Mustang. That's about 100 miles away. Well, I know Rick is in New Jersey. So I don't know where you're at, Michael, but if you're talking Connecticut, I don't know. It's a C4, but it's from a 65 Mustang, I think. So Rick has one in New Jersey, and apparently Nick has one in St. Louis.
Yeah, it's getting really hard to find anything that's like even mid 90s and older here. It's just, it doesn't exist, most of it, because the way the yards work now is something comes in, it sits there for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, it's gone.
Yeah, they don't care.
Process it on through, and there's very little kept any longer than that.
So Nick says, don't you scrap that 289. Yeah, don't scrap it.
I mean, I don't want, I wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't use the 289 for my stuff. Somebody definitely will. But it's just like if somebody was going to scrap it next door, it's like, oh, here, I'll take it. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I don't want it getting scrapped.
Right.
You know, because I'm going to go with a roller motor, because we all know how bad solid lifter camshafts are these days.
Yeah.
It's just you go the roller, and just it's going to work.
Steve Reed says they sell a lot of them on Marketplace. So, yeah, Rick, you may want to just pursue that. Put it up for sale on one of the forums, and let somebody make an offer on it.
Mm-hmm.
About all I can say.
So are you staying nice and warm out in the shop?
I am, actually. It's
okay.
Well, the temperature outside is nice though.
Oh, okay.
It's about 71 degrees out here.
No, it's not bad.
No,
I've just left mine running because I don't want my stuff out here to freeze. And the replacement cost for chemicals and stuff is far higher than the
Oh
little bit of
yeah.
electricity to keep it warm. Um, it was like I said, it was 10 degrees most of the night. I came out here in the morning and it was down to 58. It was
Oh,
down to
that's not bad.
58 in here. And once the sun came up, I mean, it zipped right back up to like 65, and it is actually 67 right now.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be down around 11 degrees tonight again. So being that's really undersized for this building, I knew that when I put it in to start with on purpose. I can't complain. I cannot complain one bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you know, I've been leaving it. I left it off all weekend,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll only get down to like 50 in here.
Mm-hmm.
I have it insulated pretty well,
Yeah.
and of course I have my blue wall over here with the blankets. So I have to be. Yeah, there's some stuff in the back that I'm probably a little more concerned with,
Mm-hmm.
but I doubt that I could get it. That it's going to get down to in here at least in kind of real freezing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that is a concern. You don't want to lose any chemicals.
Yeah, and that's because I lost a bunch of stuff, over the summer, because I just couldn't keep it cool enough. And when I get it done, it'll be a lot neat and cool, and
Yeah.
hopefully not lose anything. And somebody needs to make a chemical cabinet. I mean, we all know the big metal cabinets. Why is there not a climate controlled cabinet for chemicals? Because
Probably a tremendous risk factor.
probably lawyers and insurance.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. The only way I could see that working is if you had like a totally independent heat element
it's got to be over
and
there
have a ducting that goes
Yeah.
to it that just circulates a little heat through it.
Yeah.
Like if you used, what you could do. I don't know how hard it'd be to regulate, but if you had like a water heater,
Mhm.
you could plumb just a copper line through it, and now you've got hot water just flowing around it, so it's not heat like from flames.
Because I don't want anything sparking in it, because we all know that stuff, I don't care how well you've got it sealed, it still leaks out. And that stuff is very flammable.
Yeah.
So the old light bulb trick ain't gonna, no.
No.
But my issue is more the summertime than it is the winter.
Okay.
And trying to keep it cool is a lot more difficult.
Mr. Mike says, "Howdy, y'all. Doggone, it's cold. Better late than never." Glad you're here, Mr. Mikey. Michael Pagliarini, not around here. Unfortunately, I would make an offer on a C4 from you, Barry. The shipping would kill me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not sure where you're at, Michael, but I get it. Dave Tyson says, use an old fridge. So there you go.
Yeah, and I've actually looked at some, maybe getting one, and thought about that. And then keeping that warm is not an issue, because it's going to stay at a temperature. For the little bit of cold we have, it's not an issue.
Right.
It's just I've got to. They're big, they're heavy, they're a pain in the butt to move.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
QI. I'll give you a bell for that. I sold my 65 long ago, but regret it every day. Take care of your Mustangs, guys. It was almost like losing a limb. That's why I come back to look at all the good work you do. Erling in negative 20 degrees Celsius in Oslo.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you get an extra bell.
Is that the first Norway?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think I've had somebody else. I know Ricard comes in from Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've had somebody from Norway before, but hey, awesome.
Yeah.
Glad you're here, and I'm glad you're getting the temperatures that we're not, because I don't want that ever.
Yeah, ours is that number, but above and in Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Let's see. Nick says, y'all talked about snow too much. It started up again. Dang. Well, that's good. You can have it.
Well, we had that little bit. It was, for us, it was lake effect snow, because the wind came from the north and it's really cold. And it's funny, you look at the map, and the only spots that you saw snow were directly south of the lakes.
Yeah.
It was all just these long, straight long, spots. And we got just a little dusting, and then it evaporated. It disappeared in no time.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't. We really haven't. I don't think we had any snow last year. I know it was, and maybe the year before. I don't know. It was a couple years ago. We had a big ice storm come through, which just really messes with Atlanta.
Hmm.
But and Nick says, or cold rather. Talking about snow and colds.
Well, that was probably the one that hit you after I left.
Yeah, probably so.
When I was going coming back here.
Oh, Michael's up in Rhode Island. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Q1. Yep, there was a Swede one day. Yeah. Well, I know that Ricard. I'm pretty Ricard is from. What's the name of it? Vinspong or something like that.
I cannot remember.
There's some castle because he sent me a picture of
Mm-hmm.
my sticker in front of the castle, and it was like Vinspong or something. Some I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Wasn't there somebody from Romania at one time? It rings a bell for some reason. Romania. And I could be
Romania,
wrong.
maybe.
I could be totally wrong.
I know we had Japan.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
yeah,
I can see his little.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I can't.
It won't hit me until I see it.
Yeah.
Cargo Troy, howdy, checking in. What did I miss? I'm recovering. I'm getting better. That's about all I can say. Sorry. Cargo Troy, give you a bell. Nick says Barry has more holes is the biggest thing, Cargo Troy. Yes, I have some accessory holes added that I don't want, but they're here.
And that was the thing. The guy when I had my appendix taken out, he said, this cut we're doing across all this muscle down here, you're very likely to end up, with the same problem you've got now.
Okay.
Because and the
Yeah.
guy, the surgeon even said, when he was cutting through, he said, you had a lot of muscle there.
Yeah.
He said he was really surprised how much muscle there was to cut through. He said, yeah, and your recovery was going to suck.
Yeah, and the way I understand it, I had him try to explain it to me. I guess there's, you have your guts,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and then your intestine, and then you have like some sort of a wall,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have a muscle wall,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's like another wall and fat and eventually skin. So I don't know how many layers there are, but the repair involves going between that inner wall
Mm-hmm.
and the muscle. It goes between those with this piece of mesh, and it has to be sewn in or something.
Yeah, I know. It's like I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, it looks like white window screen.
Yeah, I didn't actually see the stuff, but I just hope that it's I don't know if I want to say pliable enough, or
Where you don't feel it, kind of thing.
well, you don't feel it, or that it doesn't, like, you do something and it comes loose somehow.
Or you do something and it's like, what am I feeling moving down here?
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah,
I don't want that. So, I'm not going to be out playing tackle football with anybody for sure. But yeah, not comfortable.
no.
Nick says stop bragging. I guess he's talking about bragging about all your muscle in your belly.
Oh, trust me, it was not fun. It was not fun at all.
Ronnie Moore, we're getting snow flurries and 20 degrees this week in South Louisiana. Yeah, I don't want any of that. Just keep it. Just keep it all there. Glad you're here, Ronnie.
You can come over here. It's going to be 11 tonight again.
Nope. No thanks.
It's not that bad though.
Oh yeah, it won't last long.
Yeah, exactly. We get 2-3 days and then it's back to normal. And it's no big deal.
Nick says I'm fully recovered from my surgery. By the way, I can't wait to get back to work. Never thought I'd say that. Yeah. I'm glad you're recovered, Nick. For
That
sure.
was it was a bicep.
Bicep,
wasn't it?
yeah.
That sounded painful.
Yeah. Again, no, you can have it. Gene says, what's next on CJ after recovery? Well, I'm going to work on getting the, if I can pan this over a little bit here, I got to get the seat divider in place between the wheel wells, and that's going to attach up here at the top where the inner structure for the quarters, and that's where the deck filler piece goes in behind the window. All that has to interact. I'm glad I paused on that because I thought I could have put that piece in after, but I can't. It has to go in before the cross piece goes in for sure because it sits on top of it. So if I had that upper piece in, I'd have a hard time trying to snake that up and under.
It'd be like putting a firewall in and trying to, yeah,
Yeah, like under the cowl,
yeah.
something like that. But I'm going to have to get that taken care of.
Hmm.
And once I do all that, I'll get the quarters on, make sure everything lines up and fits properly. And then I'm going to go back to the front. That's a great song by Metallica, by the way. Back to the front and finish putting the aprons on, the core support, and the strut brace mounts.
One thing I would do. Okay,
Yeah.
when you do that, when you're cutting, the curves. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
do that. When you're cutting the curves out, for the mini tubs,
Yeah.
if you cut it out in one piece and it fits, either save those pieces or make yourself a cardboard template that you can hang up on the wall somewhere for next time. Now you've got boom, and you've got something to start with, and you've got
Yeah.
something for next time.
Well, what I'll probably end up doing, as I'm again processing, sitting around doing nothing, I will probably take that piece and pull it out, just set it aside,
Hmm.
take a piece of cardboard, and make a template so that I can put it against that new piece and trace it out
Yeah.
and make that work. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It would be nice to have a template for future
Yeah.
reference.
And
So,
then,
yeah.
then you don't have to keep your whole template. You can actually just cut it down and just do either side pieces, and then just maybe you get smaller pieces to store, because all you
Yeah.
need is the two sides.
Yeah.
Store those two, put them away, and because I've got templates for stuff that I've made, had to make here. I've kept all of my templates. Even like for the drop offs, the trunk drop offs behind the quarter panel.
Yeah.
Is the 5/6s are different than because that piece is always bigger. I've got those templates on the future. If I'm doing a 5/6, I can just put it up there, draw it. That's where you cut it. You're done.
Yeah. It's a good idea. Cargo Troy, interesting. I guess maybe new unwanted AC to the inside usually isn't a good thing. Hope all is well. I'm not sure what you're saying there. New unwanted. Is that never new? I don't know. I'm confused.
I think he means like extra air ducting in the car. To the
Oh,
outside. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not sure what we're saying there, but Gene says sequence is scored. That should be on a shirt. It should be on a shirt, and I should probably try to make that at some point.
Speaking of which, watching your last video, did you have fun on your trip to Buc-ee's?
I did, and I think I mentioned it in the video. I wanted to hate that place. I really wanted to hate that place, but every time I go there, I'm just more. I'm just happier with it.
I've never
now,
seen one that empty.
yeah, well, yeah. Whenever you go in there and it's like you can walk around, it's much different than having 500 people in there all trying to fight for something.
Yeah. And the closest one to me is by an outlet mall, and actually right behind it is at the outlet mall is Direct Tools. It's actually right by Texas Motor Speedway. It's across the street from it. Well, if you want Ridgit and Ryobi tools, if you just want El Cheapo versions of it that you can go, well, you want a drill. You're going to buy just a corded drill. You can go buy one for like $10 when they got them on sale.
Okay.
You use it, you abuse it, you throw it away. But they're right behind it. But that one there, it's just you can't get in there. I mean, you can't. And when you're talking about how many pumps there were, and there's normally around 100 pumps at those Buc-ee's.
Right.
There's normally around 100 pumps, and you can't. I've never gotten gas there because it's been, jam packed, and I couldn't get in there.
Well, this one now that I made 2 trips to Florida and gone to this same one. This is in Auburn, Alabama. Early on, wide open. I mean, just walk right in, and that's why I filmed everything. I'm like, you know what, people want to see this. So, but yeah, it's remarkable what they've done to make that place happen.
And the bathrooms are so nice and clean.
You know what? I will say this: if you have not been to a Buc-ee's, you should just go just to use the bathroom. If nothing else, incredible. It is so well organized, so clean. Access is so good.
And they
nailed it.
And there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of bathrooms. Yeah.
Yeah, even when it's full, you don't really stand in line and wait.
Mm-mm.
That's the amazing thing.
And it's some of the stuff is like it's a little it's kind of a tourist trap.
It is.
It is, but there's certain things like, but when you go there, you can get pretty much anything you want. You may pay a little more for it, but you're at a place that's it's well taken care of. You can go and use the bathrooms and they're clean. You're paying a premium, but you're getting something in return for that premium. They are keeping up the quality of the facility.
Well,
Even older Buc-ee's, when you go
Yeah.
in, they're not run down.
yeah,
They just it's like it starts getting to certain points like, okay, we need to remodel this bathroom. It's
Yeah.
not up to our standards. We need to remodel it, and they do a really good job of just keeping them really nice stores.
Now, I know when you say you pay a premium, and you do in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
but they actually have the cheapest gas,
Mm-hmm.
and you go in and you get a large drink. A large drink is like a dollar
Yeah,
$1.50 or something.
the food stuff is expensive.
The food, but it is so good.
Yeah,
It is. I would rather spend money there than at any McDonald's or Burger King or even Wendy's or whatever.
Yeah. That's where I stopped on the way home.
Yeah.
The only reason is I can do it on my phone. I can pick it up, and I'm off and running in less
Yeah.
than 2 minutes. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But you can't beat the food at Buc-ee's. I'm telling you.
no, it's
You
very
really
good.
can't.
And the beef jerky is really good.
I have not tried any of the beef jerky. I probably shouldn't because then I'll be really wanting to get that stuff. But
Yeah. No, I know you don't like spicy stuff, and it. My neighbor had brought back some of the ghost pepper stuff, and it was white on the outside. It was not as hot as and I don't mind spicy stuff.
yeah,
Spicy, when it gets to a certain point, it doesn't like me, and I'm going to be miserable for the next 2 days.
yeah,
It doesn't like my stomach and everything else. But the stuff there, it had a really good flavor to it. It wasn't like super hot, but
Yeah.
it had a good flavor.
okay,
It was good stuff, but they have tons of different flavors.
yeah. Nick says their croissant breakfast sandwiches are so good.
I've not had one.
All I've had for the breakfast is like their breakfast taco thing, or whatever. But even their tater tots are really good. And the chips they do the fresh fried chips instead of like a bag of chips. You get a bag of fried chips.
Yeah.
So
But unfortunately for me, the one by is not nothing. It's not convenient.
oh really?
Where
Yeah.
I've got to really be going out of my way to go to Buc-ee's. And there's a bunch of Buc-ee's on the coast of Texas. When you're going through, there's a bunch of them. But they bought out another chain of gas stations and turned them into Buc-ee's. They're not. It has the name, but it's a tiny little store.
Yeah.
They're really nice, but it's not
Not the same.
Not what you think of when you're thinking Buc-ee's.
You're not thinking the Walmart Buc-ee's.
Yeah, they're tiny little gas stations.
Yeah.
But they're still very nice.
Nick says that's my favorite, the ghost pepper. My batch was hot though. Yeah, I won't even touch that. Won't even touch that. So, hey, I think I'm gonna have to end up calling us a night. This little thing in my throat is really bugging me.
Yeah.
It's making it difficult to continue going on.
I
But
understand.
but I do appreciate you being here, Robert. And
I hope I didn't run off too many people.
oh no. So I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll probably I'll be back next week. But
Yep.
I'm oh look,
Oh,
we had somebody checking in. Hi Barry, howdy y'all. No wonder Robert didn't answer my text.
I got her text message. She said that she's delayed till 2100.
Oh okay,
So, yeah, we figured that was going to happen. So,
okay,
Okay.
So I'll let you go, and we'll catch up again.
See you, everybody.
See ya. Okay, that was good. As I said, I'm doing much better after this surgery and recovery. I got to get this thing in my throat to heal back up the way so it's not awkward feeling. It's just difficult. But again, I at this point I plan to be back here next Monday at 7:00 once again, and I appreciate everybody being here. And let's see. Until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.